If you were to be the president of Nigeria, you just had 1 minute. What is that thing you would fix?
I'll first of all blow up Nigeria.
Blow up Nigeria?
Yeah. For 1 minute, it means there is no hope. How would
MusicBizTalks with GV. Alright, you're welcome back to another fire episode of MusicBizTalks with GV. And on this episode, joining me is a guest who doesn't just speak, but he thinks through every single thing he says before he spills. Ladies and gentlemen, he's unapologetically vocal about his takes on VeryDarkMan, and he's also very good at dropping gems when it comes to cybersecurity online. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Kolawole Omojolowo, aka TheManOfThought.
Hey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for making our time to be with us on the MusicBizTalks podcast. And straight up, let's get into the conversation. So, explain cybersecurity to the average Nigerian.
Okay. Cybersecurity in a short form is about protecting one another from cyber threats or cyber attacks. Simply because today we live in a cyber world. Your money day account, you know, everyone is kind of, when you want to make transactions, when you want to have conversations, perhaps people who are going to be viewing us are most likely viewing us due to, you know, the internet space. And how do we protect ourselves from situations? And that's the purpose of cybersecurity.
Okay. You talked about cyber threats. What are the most common cyber threats facing Nigeria?
Cyber threats is, when it comes to Nigeria aspect, I think even Nigerians themselves are actually cyber threats. In the sense that majority of the youth today are into cyber crimes. And we are not talking about just defamation. Defamation is a small thing. We're talking about, you know, scamming and all those kind of stuff, chatting people via WhatsApp, pretending you are a man or you're a woman and all those kind of stuff, and extorting a lot of people. So we have this actually going around. And then when it comes to the aspect of hacking, you know, taking people's Facebook, there are a lot of reports that comes to me and I help people retrieve Facebook. Sometimes you want to do some tracking and the rest of it. So it's basically like, it's a day-to-day stuff. When it comes to Nigeria stuff, when it comes to cybersecurity, we actually need it right now in Nigeria.
So you talked about hacking Facebook and social media accounts. Actually, a few months ago, I lost my Instagram account. I like 10K followers. It was very, very painful because I had grown that page. I had grown that page for like, I think 5 years after winning like the MTV base, after being the first runner up on MTV base Cypher. And it was a whole lot of like fan base, had grown a fan base sort of there. And I lost that page like a few months ago and it was really painful. I really can't tell if it was a cyber attack or something. Yeah. But then, just like you said, all of these scammers taking your coming into your social media account and doing all what they have to do. Now, my question is, why don't they just create a new account? Why don't you just create a new account? Why do you have to go for existing accounts, hack, and then start using them to do all of what you do?
Well, one thing is very certain. I think thieves are not creative. They are only creative in stealing. And that's their mission. And if that's their mission, they are designed for such thing. And I think them playing out their role is not really a crime for them. It is a crime to us that it is being perpetrated against. So we are the one to protect ourselves from them. So if they are not thieves, we can't have securities today. It's as simple as ABC. So what they do most times is to just look at what is already set in place, what is kind of successful. And everyone, when it comes to society, everyone is kind of seeking for shortcuts. It's as simple as ABC. You know, when someone or maybe a friend of yours see an opportunity to backstab you just to get to the next ladder, they want to do that. And sometimes if it comes to them, even taking your account, selling it out, and then having your followers and building something off it, and they can make some cash. A lot of people take those kind of opportunities. You may call it stealing or whatever, but they see it as opportunity. Yeah.
And then how do these scammers even get our data? Is our data even safe in the Nigerian space? Like, how do they get our emails, our contacts, how do they get this data?
Well, to get your email address is not it's not difficult, because if you write a message to me, most likely via our WhatsApp, your email address will most likely be there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Most people update their email address on their WhatsApp. Okay. Like when they open this business WhatsApp, you can put in your email and the rest of it. Besides, maybe you send me a message, I ask you to send me something, and then you send it through email to me, maybe a PDF file or whatever. I already have your email. And the moment I have your email, to start looking into your IP is not difficult. And so once I have your IP of your phone, there are many kind of applications you can use. Even via your phone number, I can just install an application like AndroRat. And through AndroRat, I'm already in charge of your phone. It doesn't matter if you're talking about two-step authentication and all this stuff. I already have everything I need. And so most of we who decide to be on the cybersecurity aspect and ethical hacking, we are just more conscious in the decisions we make. They can do the same thing we can do.
Okay.
So, but they decide to use it as a means to just get whatever they want to get. And we are just like the police in the cyber world. So it's more or less like if you have a nation whereby the thieves are more than the police, you know what would happen. It's going to be anarchy. So that's the reason why we encourage a lot of people going into cybersecurity space, so we can have a lot of people who can actually protect the space of cybersecurity.
So basically, you do the same thing that Yahoo boys in quote do, but then you just do it ethically.
Yeah, no, not that way. Okay. What we are doing is we are protecting them from perpetuating such acts. We understand how they do that. We are capable of doing what they do. But also, out of the pattern that you use in executing those stuff, we already understand those patterns. And there are other means we can use to, stop or reduce those stuff, that's for them to be able to attack your system or whatever. And so our role is actually to protect you from these individuals.
So I see that you also school, you have like students that you teach, or sometimes I think I run into some of your videos of when you're talking about trying to get people to enroll into your cybersecurity class. Now, don't you think that Yahoo boys can enroll to your class in the name of learning ethical hacking just to use it the wrong way?
Well, knowledge is for everybody, and who desires knowledge can get it. The only thing is that conscience is what I try to raise. And while I train people, I'm more conscious about, raising people to be more ethical in the way or dynamics at which they do their things. Now, when most people are coming into the program, a lot of people are looking at it like, okay, I'm just coming here to, have the skills so I can make something of myself or take advantage of other people. Maybe that's what they have as their objective. But what I do is, at the end of the day, I give people a lot of tools, but not every tool that you can use to cause destruction in the first place. So we are more or less like training people how to use those tools for protection rather than using it to attack. It's as simple as ABC. Though they are going to have some of those skills, but for me, more or less like I'm doing whatever I'm doing in a sense whereby I know most of them are coming into the program for such things, but there is a level at which I'm going to give you certain things to. And I would observe you slowly. And then I know according to what I should give to these particular individuals. So I'm very decisive on that.
Okay. Now, how come our politicians never fall victims to online scams, but yet INEC claimed to had the beavers malfunction during the last presidential election?
Well, when it comes to INEC, it tends to be about database. So there could be a possibility. I can't trust anything that comes out of Nigerian political elites from their mouth. But what I can say about it is, when it comes to database, things can malfunction. And in fact, Nigerians are not even invested in, the cyber world. The only thing we have been good at is just arresting people for defamation of character. So in a nutshell, what I would say is that politicians, more of them kind of change their contact often.
Oh.
Yeah, their numbers are not like us, that we can use a particular number for years. Most of them, often they change their contact. So when you change those information often, it is more difficult for maybe, what do we call it, an hacker to focus on your device, because something is going to go off maybe before they execute whatever they want to execute. Hacking is not something you just wake up one morning and you say, I'm going to do this, and you can just execute it, except you already have the necessary information you need. So that's how it goes.
Okay, what are like some of the most shocking cyber fraud cases that you've ever come across?
They are numerous.
One major one. Let's just focus on one.
I think there was one. A lady called me from US.
Okay.
And they clone her voice already. So if she make use of your device now to make a call, they already know her voice. They hack our account. They hack even the voices of our children. The phones she have, everything about that lady has been hacked. Going to her TV, whatever, whenever she makes any call via WhatsApp or uses anybody's phone to make any conversation, they already have the record. And then they would reach out to her, they monitor her. There was something that actually happened was they took advantage of her daughter.
To get to
her very young daughter, like, all these, what they call it? Pedophile. So one of them is a white person. He took advantage of our daughter. And then the school, because of one thing or the other, I really don't want to go much into details, but they started watching the woman. They don't want the woman to spill out, so they are always watching every communication. If you go too far, she's trying to make reports, but before she gets to where she wants to report, they already know what she's coming for. So she reached out to me at some point, and we worked in certain ways to be able to help our devices. And what is there is just too much. What's there is just too much.
Wow.
Yeah. So even till date, I think one of the things that we concluded is that she has to come to Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I am still expecting a call, but she's already prepared to come back.
Okay. We would like to get the update on how it goes. Hope it's successful. When it goes successful.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the activism part of you. You seem to be a very, very big lover of VeryDarkMan. Should I call you a Ratels gang member? Is that what you guys call yourself?
I'm not a Ratel, I beg. I've said it countless of times. I'm not a Ratel. I support him as a human being.
Okay.
I see his efforts. I appreciate some of his work. And I see his lapses just like every other person. So Ratels, in a sense, we can call them worshippers of VeryDarkMan.
Worshippers of VeryDarkMan.
Of VeryDarkMan. They may not accept it, but he can do no wrong, and in their eyes. And like when you ask them what are the wrong things or what are the bad things that you have seen from VeryDarkMan, just like a human being, what are the things you've observed about him that is actually bad? They can't even specify one, and so everything they say about him is perfect. So that's godly way of seeing him. So I'm not a Ratel. So if you call yourself a Christian and you call yourself a Ratel, Christian praise Jesus, Ratels praise VeryDarkMan.
Oh, wow.
That's simple as ABC.
Okay. Now, for you, where do you draw the line between activism and clout chasing?
Well, I think activism is about speaking on what you believe in and fighting for others. And when it comes to clout chasing, I think sometimes the problem is a lot of people begin to praise us when you are fighting for. I think even every human being has the limits to what they can actually accept, maybe through offensive words, abusive words, or praises. So when you start praising me excessively, it gets into me. And then if I'm not careful and I don't watch myself, I begin to build certain kind of ego and the rest of it. And before you know, I deviate from what I am actually doing, and then I start looking for more worshippers, and I think that I am beyond certain level. Yeah, that's how I view it.
So it seems like when it comes to like online activism and speaking out for the common man in Nigeria, for the common Nigerian, it seems like VeryDarkMan was one of the first to do that online.
No.
Can we say that?
No. Online?
Yeah, online.
Online, no.
Okay, who was that?
Rufai Oseni has been doing that. People have been come before Rufai Oseni. When Rufai Oseni was in on Inspiration FM, he has been doing that. I've been following him. Daddy Freeze has actually been speaking on things like that.
So what makes the one that VeryDarkMan does different?
Yeah, what makes VeryDarkMan different is basically because of his energy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a youth, a young guy, and we haven't seen a young guy do stuff like this. So VeryDarkMan should be 31 now.
I don't know.
Yeah. So he's 29, 28 when he started.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah, so he's kind of young. He has the energy, he has the body, he has the looks. You know, it's just like when you're talking about Superman. When you look at Superman, there are certain features he have. In Nigeria, we have always seen most of our activists like Lekpa. Most of our activists are just like, some of them are not even training themselves and all of that. But this particular activist, he looks like a bodybuilder. It looks like something that is fit. And humans, one way or the other, there's an attraction when it comes to the idea of physical. And then when you have the energy to support it, so people get attracted to that. That's what I see based off my own view.
Okay. So that means you really applaud what VeryDarkMan does.
Definitely.
Okay, so if someone wanted to be the next VeryDarkMan, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them not to try to be VeryDarkMan, for them to find themselves and play along with, whatever is going on within the society and try their best. All you can give is your best. If you try to emulate someone else, though we are all role models one way or the other, but if you try to emulate someone's style of doing their things, you might not last long. You can look at this guy they call VeryDarkMan. We have Very White Man. We have another one, is maybe a Togolese or somebody like that. One Togo guy that wear berets too. He's trying to be like VeryDarkMan. Like sometimes when I look at them, I want to spit. So in a sense, like, these are not real people. They are just copying the originality of another person. That's not who they are. So along the line, they are going to fade. And besides, when we talk about VeryDarkMan, they are all photocopies of VeryDarkMan, and they are not the real copy. And so people don't gravitate towards them. They are just second-handed use.
Do you think that people actually weaponize free speech as an excuse to say anything online?
For sure. Do you want to talk about Moyele Sowore, Tuma, and Seeking? You know,
I was going to go there. But
yeah, these individuals just come online right now and they say all kinds of nonsense in their mouth. You know, I don't think they even they can articulate their words, or they are even thinking through what they are saying and how people are going to receive it. So these are more or less people who just believe in abusive statement, and I don't know how abusive statement makes changes within society. It's more or less going to create more of anarchy at the end of the day, or create, one way, influence the next generation, whereby they become so disrespectful, and you ask ourselves, where's our culture, where's our tradition, and the rest of it. So I've been seeing all this trend going, and a lot of people are like, oh, Sorosoke, you know, you have to be able to speak up what's in your mind. But what's in your mind, if it's not sensible, it's just anger, what do you want to do? You can't articulate anger. You can only articulate something that you feel and you think through it. So most of them are not thinking through it. All they just do is they just express whatever they feel. So we're having more of non-entity within the society in the aspect of freedom of speech. So I don't support most of those stuff.
So if you were to do it different, if you were to do it different, who would you, which situation, how do I put it now, which situation that's going on in the country right now do you feel like VeryDarkMan should address that he's not addressed yet?
I think VeryDarkMan is playing his role according to his time. I think he can't fix Nigeria. VeryDarkMan, he can never fix Nigeria.
How many very dark men would it take to fix Nigeria?
It wouldn't take any very dark man. If we have 150,000 very dark men in Nigeria, Nigeria would not be fixed. It takes every single one of us to come together and decide the fate of our country and the fate of our future. And if we are putting it in the hands of only one person, it's more or less like it's going to take a while. And until we come to our senses, if we don't come to our senses, this generation will go, another generation will come, another very dark man will come. Bafela was the very dark man of the 90s. Very dark man is the one of the 2020s. So it's just going to keep repeating itself. We're expecting Messiah. Messiah would always come, but we are not willing to do the work. So we are going to get stuck, including our Messiah. You know, they beat Jesus to an extent. He had to go he had to ascend. So that's to tell you that there's trouble in paradise too.
So talking about they beat Jesus and after some time he had to ascend, do you think that very dark man would survive the long term, or he will get cancelled? Or
no, I don't think very dark man will get cancelled. One thing is always obvious: every single one of us will fade away. Death is inevitable, and I'm not talking about death literally. I'm talking about your glory days will come and your glory days will go away. So even when Very Dark Man started, I knew it was going somewhere great, but I know slowly it will fade away. Slowly we all will fade away, no matter how. I think Terry G sang a song and he said, "Ayepo gan nile aye yi o, olukaluku se ti eni won ba." So in a sense, you might think you are good, but there are other people that are going to do better. But in a sense, whatever you have, you should do it, use it in the right form, in your own time. And to me, I think Very Dark Man has actually done that, in a sense. I think he has done that. Yes, is he making mistakes? Definitely he would make mistakes. David in the Bible, what did he do? He started sleeping with people's wife now. Solomon in the Bible, when he was young and he became a king, what was he doing? He was abusing power also and doing all those kind of stuff. So it's not like VDM is abusing power. That's not what I'm actually insinuating. But in a sense, sometimes it does. But what I'm actually saying is that as a young guy, you are bound to make mistakes. And so...
Okay, you spoke about Terry G, the likes of, those are, I think we can call them legends in the music industry. Because they've been here for a while, they've done it, and then even though their time their time is probably up, because I don't think they really put out music that much. Now the music industry has its own dark side, kinda. Do you think that the music industry needs a very dark man to start speaking out and calling out people so that some things can start going well in the music industry? And what are some of those things that you think needs to be fixed in the Nigerian music industry and Afrobeat as a whole?
Well, the reality is that Very Dark Man has always come to us in many forms. Fela was a very dark man. African China was a very dark man. Two-Face Idibia was a very dark man. So these are the people who speaks to the hue of the society. They've always come and they've always go. So it's not as if Very Dark Man is just one who kind of draws a different attention of a generation. You know, we call them Gen Z, you know, Sorosoke society. Yeah. So it's I think something just changed during the period of, there's a trajectory during the period of Very Dark Man's rising. You know, you can't compare the time of Moses with the time of Jesus. Moses did well and as people was praising him. But when it came to the time of Jesus, something unique actually happened after the book of Malachi. So same thing is kind of happening during the time of Very Dark Man, but Very Dark Man has always appeared in different form in every society, I think, in every society. Okay. So in the music, in a sense, in the music industry, Very Dark Man has always appeared there.
Who is one of that Very Dark Man? Because I don't.
Currently, we don't have Very Dark Man in the society. In the music industry as a whole right now. I think it's still going to come very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the Cybersecurity Act, you saw it a few days ago, right?
No, I haven't gone through it.
Okay, we see that Nigerians are trying to protest fixing 7th April, I think 2025, as a day to protest against the Cybersecurity Act. Basically, do you think that the Cybersecurity Act is meant to silence people like VeryDarkMan?
Are you talking about in an aspect of expression?
So basically, the government trying to control social media, regulate social media.
Yeah, in a sense, they always want to regulate in every country.
Do you think it's needed in the Nigerian social media space right now?
I think they are going to try their best, and they are going to fail.
Okay.
You can't tell people how to express themselves when they are feeling pain. The only thing that would happen at the end of the day is that the prisons are going to be so filled up that the roads are going to be empty. And the only people who will live in the society will be the presidents, and all their citizens will be in the prison. It's as simple as ABC.
Okay, the man of thought. Okay. If you were to be the president of Nigeria, you just had 1 minute, what is that thing you would fix?
I will first of all blow up Nigeria.
Blow up Nigeria?
Yeah. This
what
country.
What do you mean blow up Nigeria?
Because if for 1 minute, it means there is no hope. How would
okay, if you had 1 day.
1 day to fix this country?
No, to do something that you think would take Nigeria in the right direction.
In the right direction. Arrest all the old politicians and all the old politicians.
Okay.
And if I wouldn't use the word all, I would say at least 95% of the politicians and them. I think we would never execute them. We would arrest them. We would never execute them. Interpret it. So it means they would be turned upside down like Paul the Apostles and Peter and stuff like that, and we put them in their right spot. That's exactly what we can do in this country, because these people never have the heart of repentance. They are not people like you can call them and tell them this is what we need as people, and they are ever going to listen. They are built for corruption. They are built for destruction. So having those kind of people in the society, it's more or less like, if I become a president in 1 day and I can do anything, those are the set of people you flush out, in a sense whereby you return the fear of God into the heart of Nigerian citizens, and then they are like, okay, let us start repenting now, because 1 day can also come this way and we will be in that position. So I think things will get better.
All right. One time I was in your TikTok live, and I think I heard you talk about a situation where you felt oppressed. What's up with that situation? How is it going?
Hey, cut here. I was not supposed to be free right now. I'm supposed to be in correctional center, Ikorigi Correctional Center.
What's the situation?
Right now. The situation never ends. But funny enough is, all the people I'm actually fighting for, even about day before yesterday, they strike out certain cases from those real estate organizations. They are fraudulent.
Oh,
and
by the way, sorry to interrupt, but just for the listeners that don't know, because I was the one on your live, what was the backstory?
The backstory is I was the first landlord who purchased property. Not the first who purchased, but the first person who moved to the estate. And then lies. I don't want to call their name because the judge asked me not to call their name at the moment. So they told me there were securities, there was water, there was these. Those are what we actually paid for. And then fast forward, I was robbed in the estate with my pregnant wife. Fast forward, they extort a lot of Nigerians in diaspora, stuff like that keep on repeating itself. And I had to fight back, because I think that I am the very dark man of the estate, within the estate. So they had to look at the greatest voice within the estate, and it had to keep me silent. And in a way, they actually tried. They tried, but you know, when you are a goat, there's nothing you can do but to be stubborn. So I am a goat.
Okay, which of the type of goats? The greatest of all time? Or
both. I mean, I'm both. Stubborn and greatest of all time.
Okay. All right. So, you know, I actually asked your followers to send in questions. I asked your fans to send in questions that they would like to ask you. And I think this particular one, or just take this one, the first one that comes randomly, and it reads, please tell him that his videos are only about VeryDarkMan. Ask him, is he just trying to get VeryDarkMan's attention or using VeryDarkMan's name to grow his social media accounts?
I am actually using VeryDarkMan's name to grow my social media accounts. If that person can actually use VeryDarkMan's name to grow accounts, wouldn't they do that? You know, the name of VeryDarkMan shouldn't be mentioned when you are tackling him. The Ratels keep singing the praises of VeryDarkMan every single day. There are a lot of people who kind of worship VeryDarkMan. When they sing the praises, it is not wrong. But when they question some of the things he does, if not because of VeryDarkMan, you will not be feeding. If not because of VeryDarkMan, you will not be doing. Those are just senseless people. They are looking for praises. They are not looking for criticism. And in society, we have to have criticism sometimes. You can criticize my work, you know, for that person to even call my attention to say, oh, guy, you have been speaking only about VeryDarkMan. That's criticism. That's me too. I have to look into myself and say, wait, if I say I'm not going to get topic again, no, now VeryDarkMan don't hijack every side of my mentality. That's one criticism of its own. But if you are now thinking that I would stop talking about you, VeryDarkMan should stop talking about everybody in the society, and let's see how VeryDarkMan will go. So we talk about each other. That's gossip, that's conversation. That's what conversation is built upon. We are not here talking about speaker. We are not talking about sticks. We are talking about human being. And so that's it. If I focus my attention on VDM, that's what I want to talk about for the moment. That's what I would say when I was talking about cybersecurity. The funny thing is this: when you are uploading a lot of videos, if you go on my TikTok page, you can see things when I talk about cybersecurity. You can see things when I talk about spirituality. You can see things when I talk about Moyeleshu Wore. I talk about many subjects. They would not see it in their FYP page. When it comes to VeryDarkMan, they want to pay attention to it because their ear is linked to VeryDarkMan. So when you know, the algorithm already knows that these people, they are consumers of VeryDarkMan. So the algorithm knows that if I speak about VeryDarkMan, these are the audience it will throw it to. So it will keep feeding them only the time when I say VeryDarkMan. So they don't see other videos, they only see the ones of VeryDarkMan, and so they get upset. But that's their cup of tea.
All right, thank you very much, Man of Thought. Just before we round up this episode, we're just going to play a quick game of pick one and give reasons why.
All right.
So I'm going to start with TikTok or YouTube. Pick one and give reasons why.
I would say YouTube, because when I started using TikTok, I realized that I was no more smart. I realized that I was becoming dumber. And a few days I had to take some step back. Because intelligent conversation goes on YouTube. Stupid conversations are more on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Peter Obi or Sowore?
Peter Obi currently, because Sowore at the moment is just creating hoodlums. Is herring them like chickens. And so I don't trust what Sowore is up to right now. I think he has vengeance inside of him, and now he's breeding some kind of set of people to fight. And if you want to fight corruption, be careful not to become that same thing that you're. So I think he's losing it somehow within his mind. He might think he's conscious, but if he reflects very well, he would see that something is really going off.
VDM or Daily Farotimi?
It's like talking about God and children of God. We're talking about Daily Farotimi. Daily Farotimi is one of the greatest. We have VeryDarkMan is for this generation, the youth of the generation. But Daily Farotimi speaks things that goes with time. VeryDarkMan talks about what happened in our daily occurrence. Daily Farotimi talks about things that will go into generations to come. So there are two messengers. The only difference is one has more population, the other one speaks in time via silence, in a way whereby you can always,
Comedian Macaroni or Seeking?
Seeking? Which Seeking?
The one you know, the one that has gotten arrested like how many times in the last few weeks?
I don't know. I think Macaroni will be better.
Okay.
Yeah, we choose Macaroni in a sense that Macaroni, he focused on his craft, and Seeking is not a comedian, he's just a troublemaker. Just a troublemaker.
Falz the bad guy or Seun Kuti?
Seun Kuti all the way.
Why is that?
And the reason is like, the DNA first of Baba Fela is walking through Seun Kuti. Seun Kuti is actually one of my idols. And when it comes to Falz is just an entertainer at the moment. Seun Kuti speaks about things. If you pay attention to Seun Kuti, you would understand and see what is going on within the society. You will see it in a different light. And you would understand the pain more and what we are supposed to see and where we are supposed to channel our energy into. Falz, if you want to entertain yourself, Falz is there for you.
Okay. Portable or Speed Darlington?
Portable is too rash for me. Like, he's in between crazy. He even said it that he's a crazy person. So Speed Darlington has never said he's a crazy person. When Portable was about to get arrested, this last one that he did, he said he's a crazy person, that they are giving him drugs. So who would choose a crazy person except that person is crazy too?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lovers of MusicBizTalks podcast, thank you very much for sticking with the MusicBizTalks on this episode, and thank you very much, Mr. Man of Thought.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Kolawole.
It's an honor.
I appreciate you for taking our time to come out on the MusicBizTalks.
Thank you very much.
We go live a lot on TikTok, and we are going to be going live once this episode drops for the whole of that month, I think, even on YouTube as well. So don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, MusicBizTalks_podcast or MusicBizTalks_GVEEH. Yes, don't forget, I go by the name GVEEH, aka Victor Gekbe. Man of Thought, just before you say your last words, give out your social media handles and then give your last words, and then let's call it a day.
Well, my social media handle, I'm on YouTube, TheManOfThought 99, on TikTok, TheManOfThought.
The Man of Thought on YouTube, I think it's TheManOfThought. That's what I saw.
No, TheManOfThought 99
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Okay.
And TheManOfThought on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah. Every other social media handle, I'm not using it. If you're seeing it on Facebook, most people reach out to me. They see stuff on Facebook. I'm not the owner of that. They are feeding off me like I'm feeding off VeryDarkMan. Oh,
okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we call it. Please, can you feed off the MusicBizTalks as well, so we can actually so we can make it to your FYP. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and don't forget to stick with the MusicBizTalks podcast.
All right.
MusicBizTalks with Chief.